Episode 2 opens with Ryudo still unable to believe that he, a gloomy young man, is now dating the most beautiful woman, Runa. As Ryudo walks to school, he receives a message on his phone informing him that Runa woke up late this morning. Ryudo responds that Runa can still make it to the first class if she hurries. When classes begin, Ryudo continues to exchange messages with Runa, worrying that she might not arrive on time. Suddenly, someone opens the door, and it's Runa. The teacher welcomes her and asks her to take her seat. During the lunch break, as usual, Ryudo, Ichi, and Nishi have lunch on the rooftop. Ryudo mentions that he visited Runa's room yesterday. Naturally, Nishi and Ichi assume that Ryudo has gone all the way with Runa. Ryudo clarifies that he hasn't done that yet because he needs mental preparation. His friends get frustrated with his hesitation, thinking that Runa is just playing around in their relationship. They believe that it's impossible for them to be together because they come from different social ranks. Ichi and Nishi don't want Ryudo to get hurt in the end. After the lunch break, Ryudo enters the classroom where Runa is already chatting with her friends. Upon seeing Ryudo, she gets up and approaches him to talk. As Ryudo looks around, he notices Runa's friend, Nikoru, glaring at him. Nikoru seems extremely displeased with Ryudo. Feeling frightened, Ryudo quickly leaves, using the excuse that he hasn't finished his homework. From then on, Runa constantly tries to engage Ryudo in conversation. While he appreciates it, he feels bothered by the judgmental looks from those around them, especially the stern gaze from Nikoru, Runa's close friend. As Runa and Ryudo walk through the school corridor, Ryudo attempts to ask Runa if she has informed anyone else about their relationship. Runa reveals that she only told Nikoru. Ryudo then realizes that Nikoru's piercing stare may be because she already knows about Runa and Ryudo being a couple. Ryudo also admits that when Runa talks to him, everyone seems to be watching them. Runa senses Ryudo's unease and asks if they should keep it a secret. Ryudo agrees, suggesting that they only talk about it on the weekends and outside of school hours. Runa takes it as an invitation to go on a date, and she happily accepts. She informs Ryudo that she already has plans for Sunday, so they will have their date on Saturday. Upon arriving home, Ryudo felt extremely confused because, of course, he had never been on a date in his entire life. As Ryudo was browsing for guidance on his upcoming date, he received a video call from Runa. Nervously and with apprehension, Ryudo finally answered Runa's call. It turned out that Runa wanted to discuss their plans for the date tomorrow. With hesitation, Ryudo replied that since it's their first date, he suggested going to the movies. Naturally, Ryudo stumbled when asked what movie they should watch because he only watches a film once a year. Before Ryudo could respond, Runa inquired further about why he wanted to go on a date with her. In a shy tone, Ryudo replied that he wanted to get to know Runa better. He also explained that he's not particularly fond of going to the city, so he would follow Runa's preferences. Runa mentioned that it's the first time she has a boyfriend who talks like that. Ryudo began thinking about what Runa enjoys doing, but his dirty mind started imagining that she might like going to a hotel on their date. The next day, the two of them went on their date, and Ryudo felt relieved to discover that Runa's favorite activity is shopping. Ryudo was deeply impressed by Runa's eye-catching and sweet appearance, a stark contrast to his plain appearance. After buying several items, they took a break and enjoyed refreshing drinks. It was during this moment that Runa asked Ryudo if he was okay with a potentially boring date. Ryudo denied that it was a boring date, but Runa didn't believe him and thought he was lying because he hadn't paid attention to what she bought. Ryudo replied that, in essence, it wasn't boring because he was simply looking at Runa and her sweet expression when she saw the clothes she liked. Hearing this, Runa blushed. Shortly after, Runa's phone rang, and it was a call from her friend, Nikoru, checking up on her, perhaps out of concern. Ryudo began to think that Nikoru must have forbidden Runa from dating him. Ryudo also started to believe it was impossible for a girl as beautiful as Runa to love him. Ryudo's fear was not unfounded, as the next day, Runa didn't respond to the messages he sent, and she didn't read them at all. This was the first time this had happened since they began dating. Ryudo then remembered that Runa had mentioned having plans on Sunday, but what kind of commitment could prevent her from responding to Ryudo's messages for over 4 hours? Ryudo began to think that Runa had gone out and was dating another man. His thoughts stressed him out, and eventually, Ryudo decided to play a game and forget about it. The next morning, as Ryudo headed to school, he saw Runa already chatting with several guys, Nishi and Ikki, witnessing the scene, tried to console Ryudo, believing that this was something that should naturally happen to a gloomy guy. The day went by and Ryudo returned home. As he stepped inside, he received a message on his phone from Runa, asking him to meet her at the station. Ryudo immediately thought that Runa wanted to break up with him. Later, Ryudo arrived at the park near the station to meet Runa, mentally preparing himself for whatever decision she had made. Before Ryudo could say anything, Runa proudly displayed her new phone case, adorned with the image of Osasa, which she found incredibly cute. She explained how challenging it was to obtain this case given its limited stock, with one person allowed to purchase only one. Runa then produced another identical case and surprised Ryudo by giving it to him. Ryudo was puzzled as to how Runa managed to acquire two cases when she had mentioned the one-per-person rule. Runa revealed that she had asked Nikoru for help, and they had gone together. They had been playing games all morning and had run out of battery before the store opened. Runa wanted to have matching phone cases with Ryudo. Ryudo accepted the case, but he appeared quiet, leaving Runa confused and thinking he didn't like the case or want to match with her. While hugging the phone case that Runa had given him, Ryudo then explained that he was simply lacking in confidence because a girl as beautiful and sweet as Runa had chosen a gloomy guy like him to be her boyfriend. He felt incredibly happy that Runa had gone to the trouble of surprising him. On the way back home, Runa shared that she had been startled earlier and had thought Ryudo might not like the surprise she had prepared for their one-week anniversary. Ryudo apologized and shared a personal story from when he had confessed his feelings to a girl. Specifically, during his first year of junior high school, there was a girl named Kurose Maria who sat next to him in class. At that time, Maria had told him that she had similar feelings for him. So, Ryudo had decided to confess his love to Maria. However, she rejected him and saw him only as a good friend. Ever since then, Ryudo had lacked confidence in front of girls. Runa then shared that her parents had also been dating since their first year of junior high school and eventually got married after graduating from senior high school. Runa greatly longed for a love story like that. Not long after, a sports car drove by them. Runa was amazed by the car, considering it really cool. Ryudo then explained that it was a GR Super Urz Horizon Blue Edition, of which only 100 units existed. Ryudo went into detail, explaining the differences between sports cars and regular cars. Runa could only stare, somewhat bewildered by Ryudo's explanation. Realizing this, Ryudo promptly apologized. Runa forgave Ryudo and acknowledged his knowledge of sports cars. She also compared herself to a sports car, saying that she was speeding through life because she wanted to catch up to her parents to become an adult. She was seeking many experiences, even though her relationships tended to end quickly. Despite gathering experiences like an adult, Runa felt that her heart was still childlike. Additionally, she confessed to having trouble thinking about complicated matters, often preoccupied with sweet clothes and delicious parfaits. Ryudo then explained that sports cars weren't built for getting to the destination quickly, but for enjoying the journey. For him, Runa had many friends, frequently had boyfriends, and was enjoying her youth happily, much like what a sports car represents. Hearing this, Runa became reinvigorated and decided to live her life to the fullest, just as she had been doing all along. In his heart, Ryudo acknowledged that he might not catch up to Runa as quickly, but he wanted to get to know her better. Upon arriving home, Runa called Nikoru and informed her that her surprise had worked. Nikoru responded by saying that maybe Runa wasn't a good fit and should avoid forcing herself. Runa replied that up to now, she wasn't sure, but she felt comfortable with Ryudo. She could be herself around him, and for now, she wanted to continue dating him. Nikoru, however, firmly stated that she still couldn't trust Ryudo. The following day, Runa and Ryudo walked into class as usual. They blushed while showing off their matching phone cases. The teacher entered the classroom and announced the arrival of a new student. As the new student entered, Ryudo felt like he recognized her. Indeed, the new student was none other than Kurose Maria, the girl who had once been close to Ryudo and rejected his confession of love.